All right, hi everybody. I thought I'd do a little shipbuilding workshop, as much for myself as for anyone else who wants to follow along or pick up on this where I leave off or whatever. So here's one possible design, and this is what I used in my GK9 build, and it's just got thrusters in all six directions, and then one in and out and one out, so that it kind of creates this enclosed engine room. And then you could put another, for example, you could put another thruster back here to make and have this be the back of the ship. So you've got this enclosed engine room kind of thing. And then here's another idea, which just has thrusters. I believe it has 8 small thrusters in every direction, and then 4 big ones for gravity, all in this engine room type thing. And then I wanted to have plenty of hydrogen, so 6 tanks kind of spread out. And I think that could look really cool as an engine room. This would be the back, for example, and up there would be the front. And I think I want to redo this um, with some of the reinforced tube on at least on the outside bits. And then, so let's do that. And so I'm going to build this, and then we'll build a ship from there. And actually, the GK9 was my 9th attempt at a large grid ship. And then I started working on a GK10 or GKX, and it's almost done, but I just kind of feel like I needed a break from it. So that I'd try starting a new one, call this GK11 or maybe GKY, since the last one was GKX. And let's see, let's start with a block. And make sure we know where, okay, that'll be our left and, whoops, that'll be our left and right situation. So just make a little something to put it on. It might be a little close, but that's okay. We can move it later. I have some of these already set up. I'm a little bit, you know, I like to have my things facing the right way. So what I basically want to do, this will be the center. So we'll go from here, and since this is interior, we'll use tubes. I want to not only use tubes just because they're cool, but also make it lighter. And then we're doing space, and then two two thrusters. So what the idea is, we'll go like that, and then put a blank in between, and then another fancy one, and then our next conveyor. And I believe it goes through twice of that. So yeah, so this will be let's say this is the front, and going this way will be the back. And actually, I did this wrong. I want those to be, I want these to be X's, crosses. There we go. Since that's the center, there we go. Should be fine. They're red because there's no power yet. So we'll do the same thing again. Oops. Big fancy one here. Get rid of that thing that we did over there. And then, yeah, I'll have to move. This side is going to be reinforced because this will be the rear side, maybe a hangar or maybe just the back of the ship. So let's actually just move this out of the way. We'll put it alongside. I don't know. It's fine right here. Make sure we're stopped. Sure, that's fine. Whatever. Great. And so let's just have a layer of plate. I do want to create an actual hull for this ship. And so I want to just copy what we have so far because it worked, but I wanted to start over because I had, didn't want to do anything without giving y'all the chance to look. So here we go. This is what we want to do here. Oops. There we go. I believe that's what we want. Yeah, that'll work. Here's our, oops, here's our conveyor. It probably doesn't all need to be conveyors like this, but, oops. Oh, and I should be doing all this with symmetry on. Let's turn that on and try that one more time. We might need that sooner or later. There we go. And then this will be the outer edge. Try and make them face the right way. And then we'll go up from here. Basically, we'll copy this. This one's just going to go straight up. We could put something in the middle to, oh no, we can't because there's a thruster. So yeah, we'll just go straight up on those. This is the back of the ship, so we'll do this. I'm always a little conflicted about which way to make things face, these things. Like, do you want them to be invisible? It seems like as an engineer, as a space engineer living on the ship, I would want to be able to see stuff. Let's maybe we can make them go inside. That seems like a good compromise. Oh, and then will that work? Yeah, because there's nothing connected to it. But if we did connect something, I'd probably want to do it that way. So maybe we want it this way. Then we will come forward. And on these, we have outer ones facing up. So it's 3. So as we come forward, this will be outer, so same deal. Maybe should we have them face outside or inside? It would make more sense to have them face inside because, people outside the ship don't need to know. There we go. One more. Oops. One more, and then one like that, and then one more. Boom. And is that correct? Oh, I see that would need to be a full, all the things. Rather, this one would. Or it at least needs to connect. It needs to go, needs to be able to go in as well. So probably just a conveyor block. Let's keep it simple. One of these. Is that right? It's hard to tell. Yeah. It's not ideal. I'd rather have, a consistent line, but you can't always do that. And we'll be able to hide that. And so here we want another conveyor. Again, they might not all need to be that, but it's a good place to start. Just give us plenty of options. Here we're going to come up. I believe this is not an exterior of the ship, except for the back part there, so we'll come up with tubes. Which way to face? Probably this way is the most visible. Boom. And then we are continuing along an outer edge of the ship. I believe we want the same pattern again, right? And they also don't necessarily have to connect here, or maybe they do. Is that that's the only place they connect? So yeah, they do. Oh, but they can be. Well, not here, unless we make that interior. Might look a lot. I think it's going to look a lot cooler. Let's just do the pipes. Since that one faces that way, this one has to as well. This one needs to be that kind. Right? No, these ones need to stick up. Like that. There we go. That should work great. So then we're going to come forward again doing the same thing. Oh, I do want them to face the same way, even though no one will ever see that. There we go. And now our forward conveyor, or junction rather. It seems like they keep facing different directions. There we go. And then we can come across this way. It'll be plenty of redundancy. And for these forward ones, what do we need? We need them to face in. So we turn it this way. Maybe this can be a fancy. And then I think if those are facing that way, that would mean that these need to face that way as well. Probably doesn't matter, but unless it does. There we go. And then forward, we're going to do the same thing, right? Yeah, thruster, so nothing can go in the way. Boom. Boom. And boom. Next, we come across the top. So here we're going to have our conveyor on top. That might be, I think that we could make that a square, or a corner rather. See if it works. And then coming across the front, we just want one in the middle. Boom. Then we can have space in here. It can make room for a hangar or some kind of other interior quarters. This will attach to our down thrust, or our up thrust rather. I think just one, yeah. Let's do it like that. We're also going to come across the center here. I believe it's the same. Okay, X in the middle. Boom. And then let's figure out how we're going to do the back. Back is going to be same way, X in the middle, or a T in the middle rather. But how do we want this to go? There's the issue that, well, I guess that just faces back. Except that the T needs to go that way. So just to make it not weird, and for any potential pressurizing issues, we'll just do that. And then that one is facing down. Maybe this one faces like that. Sure. T in the middle. And I guess that could be another T. Sure. This will be at least near the exterior and the back of the ship. It's also a bunch of, there'll be hydrogen tanks. So definitely we'll have this be reinforced. Okay, okay. Let's get, so if that's reinforced, then we have to keep going probably. Like that. One more. And I believe it's one more. What's going on over here? Well, that could connect, but it doesn't right now. So we might as well make it connect. And then that's about it. And then we can start putting stuff in. That should do it. So we can start with these. I'll do the sci-fi large thrusters. They're pretty cool looking. And so these are the front ones. These are the rear ones. Oops, hey, there we go. And now let's start placing the other thrusters, the inside ones. So these will be the, what way do I want it? I just set it up so that it goes the same, matches that. Visually, I don't know. It's probably might be more interesting to face it that way, but let's just go for something consistent and easy to remember. So these are the forward thrusters, 2, 4. Oh, and there's going to be one along here as well. So let's get that. I believe it's the same way, but with X's. There we go. And then a fancy one at the end. Boom. Okay, here's our next set of forward thrusters. Let's get our reverse thrusters. And you can see if you do Control Plus, there's the overlay, so they won't damage, they'll damage the places where they damage, but they don't damage each other. And that's what makes this kind of cool, is this sort of, you can create a hidden engine room or a pressurized engine room this way. Reverse thrusters and some more reverse thrusters. 8 total. We might end up wanting to have more. That wouldn't surprise me. Let's see, did I do this part right? I might not have. Let's double check. Yeah, those should have, oh, I see, that's right. I did do that wrong. It's kind of a cool idea. Okay, I misread that. Okay, so up, in, up, in, up. Oops, wrong thing. It is, this is the one that, where did, here we go, hi. Okay, this is the back, so here's where we want to be up, and then this one should be in. I forgot about that part. So that goes in, and then this one can just be one that goes up. This one goes in, and that one goes up. And then same thing here. Up, in, up, in, and up. There we go. Okay, I had that wrong. So these will be our thrusters that will thrust us to the left. One, two, three, four, five, 2, 4 rather. And, oops, hello. And 6, 8. And then here come our, oops, wait. Anyway, we'll figure this out. Here's the other left, oh, I guess left and right. Here's the other left and right ones, the interior ones, 2, 4, and 6, 8. There we go. So there we have pretty much a thruster array. Oh, now we need the ones that are going to thrust us downward to 4, 6, 8, and we'll probably want a little bit of extra down thrust because we have such strong up thrusters. I believe that's it. Yeah. So let's add some tanks. Another option is maybe we'll put some welders in here. Here's the tanks. I really just prefer the original ones. There's the, where is it? There's this option as well, but it doesn't have enough, access ports. So we'll stick with the good old original. Let's see. Here's front center. Here's back center. Here's front left and right are going to go right here and right here. And then, is that it? What else? What am I missing? We need some H2O2 generators. Did I put some in this already? No. I think this is now where we have left off, with a small improvement of adding some reinforced this way. And now I'm realizing that it's maybe not the best idea to have these facing back when all the other ones face in, so am I going to break something doing this? No. Let's get the old symmetry back on. Have it face this way. More consistent with the rest. Everything faces in. This way we could even have a room or a passageway that goes through all this. This is the rear of the ship, so this can also be the beginning of a big hangar. I think the next step for this room, and there's also room, by the way, for adding other types of thrust. We'll be able to squeeze ion thrusters in here, maybe throw some big atmo thrusters on the sides, and maybe some flatmos down here. Well, this is like a pretty good jumping off point. Like if you wanted to build this far with me and then, start creating something from it, I think that could be a really cool plan. Now I did have just a line of light armor underneath all the pipes. Let's just do that and call it part of the shape of the ship. Oops, and I did not do symmetry when I put those tanks in. Five and 6. And so let's finish this line. This one goes, that one's just a regular because there's no thrust on top. And not here either. Yeah, we probably want the fancy one here. Hopefully it won't get burned. No, it won't, seriously. I tested. And then we have here. Boom. And then we can put maybe some welders here. It would be good to have a welder near each hydrogen tank, because if a hydrogen tank blows up, it'll really damage a lot of the ship. So you could put one down here, perhaps. Well, actually you couldn't, because it would need just to have the two. You could put one here, I think. No, again. No, you could, but it would be pointing the wrong way. You could put one here. Let's see, I think I have that somewhere, yeah. Welder. I kind of like the original one. So we have three things. So yeah, it could only work if it was pointing up, and that's not what we want. But this one, would that even? I don't think that would. Oh, that might heal that tank. Or you could also have it in here, along here, even out here. Because I do want to have some protection. Yeah, I mean it's super redundant. We don't need to have all this. So you could just have one popping right out of the. And I think that should heal the thruster and the tank. But I don't know. It's ugly. Let's stick with this for now. Now what I did on this other prototype over there is threw in some O2 H2 generators nearby. Seems like you can't really ever have enough of those if you're trying to recharge your hydrogen tanks. I guess 6 tanks, I mean, feels like we should have at least 8 O2H2 generators. And we're going to need some jump drives and a lot of batteries. So, I mean, this seems like a pretty obvious choice. Or maybe here. So this is right in the front. I think this should work. Right? If I can get it to angle the right way. Because that's connecting there and it's connecting on the sides. Spiny or glowy. I go with glowy. Well, there's one. Where can we put more? Probably each of these little corners. Although only one can go there. Actually, no. Yes, something could go there. Okay, wait a second. Where am I on the wrong one? Yep. This is the one I want to be working on. So probably, well, from the rear of the ship, we can have that, sure. Right? Yeah. So one there. One there. And one up here. Sure. I mean, over here would be probably another good choice, maybe a better choice, rather than having them on the floor. That's not what I want to do. Right? Do we want to be able to go directly up there? Probably. Oh, and then the very rear of the ship, let's not put it there. Boom. Okay. Yeah, and this could even be. That could even be. Now let's see it. We might want to have it be able to extend back, continue the spine. Okay, so there's a pretty decent engine room structure. We can maybe build out some, like just some really super basic form of the ship. Like probably at least this much will be true. Maybe even do some beams in those spots where you can, oh, you can't really see through those anyway. They're a little too crosshatchy. Could do windows. But nah, let's just do blocks. And probably the same will be true up here. This will give us a, you know, a little bit of a honeycomb shape. Oops. Which will help us get out of the brick mentality early on, hopefully. I say while making it into a perfectly square brick. So, we have thrust. Yay. Let's talk about H2O2 generators. Yeah, we could have 4 of them. Depends if you want to access or not. I mean, there's so many places to access. I think that's like kind of the coolest looking version. So sure, that. And then do the same over here. Add a couple more up top. Oh, it won't work in those ones where there's multiple junctions. Just want to try and put them in some places that make sense, at least. Could just have some more coming forward here. That would work. You could potentially have a floor above this. Room for a totally enclosed, like, passenger deck, berth, cryo. And just for consistency, put something there, put something there. Why are you complaining? It might be cool to have something kind of where some part of it, like the top is a little longer than the bottom. We have an engine room. And then what? We want to go back from there, or do we want to go forward from there? I think the engine room is probably going to be just about the back, unless it's a little hangar. Maybe we'll put a mini hangar there, but the main hangar I think should be just forward of the engine room. Three, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. It's plenty big for a hangar. I want to have a hangar that's got enough for 2 small ships and 1 bigger ship. So maybe one with a 7 block door and then one with 2 parking spaces with a 5 block door. Maybe one can go sides and one can go top. So there's wall, there's a little space, and then there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hangar door. And then there's a little space, and then there's a wall. And then maybe even coming in a little bit for the next, for the other hangar. Let's see, we go a couple of bits, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a couple bits. Probably need more than just a couple bits. especially for this one. Probably give it at least that much more. And this one as well. It's a pretty massive hanger. I guess it should be there then. Oh, you might want more space if that's the hangar door. I mean, you got to be precise. That's fine. This would be the top of the hangar doors. Right? I guess this would have to be the bottom one then, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And then this one would have to start down here. It's probably too small. It might work. It needs to be bigger. One bigger. I'm just kind of sketching it out here. Doesn't even need to be that far forward. Could be maybe starting here. And try to start creating some type of contour as well. Hangar door. Windows. Hangar door. Try to find some clever way to do that. And then as we come forward, we'll have we do need a production area. I guess maybe that should go either alongside or behind. I think we can safely get rid of this one, or at least move it out of the way. Make sure we stop, so it doesn't go floating off into space. There we go. So yeah, production. Might make sense to have it be more in the back. In fact, it's probably a great place for it. Let's see, I think I have these somewhere. There we go, refinery. Here's one option. Here's the other option. I don't know, I guess you could get away with doing these kind. I don't really love them. The stairs are weird. But I do kind of just like the old-fashioned one. Maybe have it right here. We would need room for those, so maybe not. Could be out this way. They're pretty tough, so I don't mind having them exposed. And they kind of help to, they could help to protect the tanks. Like even having them like right out in front of the tanks might be a good idea. Oops, oh, damn it. I hate when that happens. Here, let's, oops, wrong button. Here we go. Let's try that again. There we go. And so maybe, what if we have like a refinery going along here? It would help to protect these things a little. And let's also think about how we want to, like, do we want to have, we could have a cargo container right here, in fact. Maybe have one for ore here, one for ingots here, and then a main one up there. I don't think we could make that work with sorters. Probably need to put them up here, give them their own little loop. So yeah, this will probably have to move forward some. But that's okay. Let's, another option would be to have them out farther, but that would start making the ship pretty wide. So yeah, we're probably a little premature with this. But we could just go like that and then get it out of the way. Come back to it later. Make sure we stop. There you go. Just hang out over there for a little while. We'll be back. So yeah, this, here's the center. Maybe we have, how much room do we have in here? We could even have it kind of, it might be cool to have it just come up right there. Would that work? Give it a T. And then, so again, with the alternative cargo containers, it's just not quite, it's cool, but it only has 4 things, which might not need more than that, but let's go with the original. So what if we have 2 right there, or an ingot, and then we'll come forward a little bit for the main component one. I guess the other thing is if we're sorting, we need a pretty clear in and out from the sorter. That could work, but not like this. Yeah, let's go back to that. So we would have, what does that go up to? Is there another? Yeah, let's do a T right here. Sorter, sorter, sorter. Is it there? Oh no, are we broken? We might be broken. Yeah. Okay, it's okay. So we have a sorter. That's going to be the one that goes into it, obviously. Then we want to come out. So we'll do that. And then we will go do a tube down. This, I think, will work. This will be a T. This will be a sorter right there, and this will be a curve. That's the out sorter. Nice, that should work. Looks good. Have room to go in here, do engine room stuff. We can even, we could even have the, kind of keep the floor space clear. Let's do that. Nice, that looks good. Now, do we want refineries out there to protect the tanks? I don't think so. I think we want something like that to be up here. And since we're going to do, maybe this will be, here, let's make a, do text panel. I put stuff on specific toolbars, so I'm just kind of putting them there. Maybe you'll just make a note of this, of what our plan is. Want access. Let's put one right here. We'll do a, I guess we could just use that. Or we can do a block one. That one. Right in there. Sure, for now. Oops, what am I doing? I want to, I want to first of all name it. Content. If anyone knows of a plugin that does that consistently. Oh, I think I could have done a lot of that. Oh, we don't have anything, we don't have any power yet. Anyway, we should do that pretty soon. That should do it. And once we have batteries, that'll work. So this would allow ores in. That would just be blank, but it's turn offable so that you can trap ores in there. This will be ingots. Oops. There we go. And then what happens here is we'll do whitelist, just ores. I like to do scrap as in stone as well. And I'm not sure if stone is included in ores. Or scrap metal, stone. And then because there's only one in and one out of that, I think. Yeah. And then same thing with ingots here, this one. Oops. Whitelist. Ingots. And I want to maybe also whitelist tools, because tools are likely to get, when you keep getting your tools replaced when you die, it's nice to be able to disassemble them. So for now, we'll do that. We might change it at some point in the future. We're in pretty early stage design here. But I like the way this looks. Some way will come forward. It's probably we'll get rid of these and make an airlock there. Those whatchamacallit signs. In fact, let's not waste space. Yeah, you could pop something up right there. Do an airlock on one side and or rather a vent on one side and a refill station on the other. In fact, why not? Turn off symmetry. Oops. G. Refill. And vent. There it is. Let's see, which way do we want? Do we want the vent on the port side or the starboard side? That's port. I think we want vent there and refill station there. We'll remember that for all future combos. And then this will be an airlock. Door. Might need to change a bit of this just to make that work, but actually it's not ideal to have it right at a conveyor because you'll always be looking at it. Okay, anyway, we'll come back to the idea. Oops, it's too early. Stick with that for now. Let's figure out where we're going to put these refineries. And the assembler, I think maybe refineries on one side, assemblers on the other. So this is the ore area. And that will have to be, this will have to be where the wall is, at least for this bit. And we can also consider, for interior stuff, let's consider not using quite so much plate. We'll do interior blocks and floor blocks for these instead, because they'll be lighter. And what else can we get while we're at it? Maybe interior blocks. Maybe some corridors and passageways. I usually put lights there on 8 and 9 for number 2, so let's do that. And then let's come back. Let's try to use the floor one. It's just so plain. I want things to be plain. Find the plainest edge of it. It's kind of hard to see. The sun's beating down on me. I think that's it. Yeah, that's, oh no, there's a plainer edge. If I can find it. Is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's fine. And then what's on the other side? Just kind of a randomy little pattern type thing. Okay, so we'll come across with this. Oops, we do want, I believe that's interior plate, this one, right? Yeah, both. Okay, so it's going to be combo. And then what about interior wall? I think that's going to be the lightest. The only trouble is there's always something on it. I guess this one not. But then on the bottom side, maybe that's fine. I don't know. Let's build some refineries. It's going to come out of there, and then it'll come forward. And then we want to be careful with symmetry at this point. How much forward? This, well, like we were talking about, that's going to be a wall. Which means that that needs to be an airtight block. And then this can be refineries. Let's give it a little space. And then put a refinery. Yeah? But not on both sides. Maybe another option is to have them face a different way. They're annoyingly large, and could also have it come just face forward. Might make them up. Hey. Oi. There we go. Might make more sense to have the refinery, have them both just off of there instead. We can put more O2H2s there instead. So yeah, let's do that, and then airtight, and then that again. Because I want to do that on both sides. And then refinery. An assembler on this side. And then instead of coming out of here, we will come right out of there. So I should have done this. And are we okay with that? Yeah, because it's only going to be blocked some of the time. Like only when you're pulling. And then where is that? Make that reachable. The control panel. Then we have a airtight wall. Although even this could be, I could have that in the wall. I think it would make more sense not to, though. And then that'll take us right to our, so this is now ores out. Ingots out. Now, I want to say maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 refineries. I want more than that. I'm not super impatient about just waiting for stuff to get done with the refinery, so I don't know if I'm that concerned about it. No symmetry. Might be kind of cool to use those. Sure. Want space between them. Or nah. It's kind of the only time that it makes sense to have all that walkable stuff. So yeah, let's just put them right next to each other. Let's maybe do 3. 3? 4? 3. We might do more. Assembler. There's another option. I don't think it might make a little more sense to use this one just visually. I think this has some kind of walkway too. I guess but no stairs. They're kind of cool looking. It has ports on the bottom, top. Are we going to be able to do that? Yeah, it'll look a little different, but that's fine. 1, 2, 3. 4. Speed module. It's slower to do it this way, but they'll be numbered in a way that makes more sense. It'll be easier when it comes to renaming things. This also need to have a power room somewhere in this area. There we go. It's a lot of speed modules. That's the way I always do mine, is I'll yield on the refineries and I'll speed on the assemblers. We have room potentially to put batteries underneath. I would probably want good weight distribution. I wonder how the weight distribution is with these, if it matters. Probably not too much. Well, these are much bigger. So maybe batteries on this side. There is a way to find out. Yeah, it's slightly off center. Do we want a big row of batteries on the floor, though? It's not necessarily on the floor. Maybe we'd be walking down at this level. So yeah, potentially here or here, we could have a stack of batteries on the side. We want to still make sure there's access to all the stuff. This actually might work. There we go, everything starts up now. Those batteries didn't do much for the mass. But I like it. Are all these lit up? Yeah. So it looks pretty cool. Let's flip it around to the sun. Yeah, this would be the floor, obviously. And we do need to go a little bit lower than the floor. Try to make it plain. Let's do some, do a little interior wall. Just outline it at least. But we do want some room under that. Some way to get to all those. And at least one space per block. Or access underneath. There'll be room to put access at the other side. This can be floor, or rather, bottom. We probably want them centered. Let's see, where are we here? This is our wall. Oops, aye. I probably want to get rid of that. If that's our wall, then we can come in and leave that much space. Let's see, are we on symmetry? Yes. Let's see how that looks on that side. Yeah, that's fine. And then we want to be able to go to below that. So yeah, we're good there. So that can be our access area. Could even come in one more than that. Let's do that. Make it a little more drastic. Oh, can we? Yeah, we can. That means all this can be covered up and or used for some purpose. So if that's wall, then here's interior. Leave that alone for now. Yeah, I guess that could be something else. Either batteries or just cover it up. One issue with this is that they're tall. We might do better to lower them a little. Actually, it would make a lot of sense with these in particular, because they're so much taller than the rest. So yeah, let's do that. Oops, and without breaking everything else that we've already done. Oops, what did I do? What did I break? Oh, that. That's fine. Oh, except we want it to lower. Will that break? Maybe. If it hasn't already. Okay, so that needs to come down here. That's part of the wall, so maybe we just do another one of these. Chew, excuse me. And then obviously we'll change that. Floor. It's kind of awkward how it's like, no matter what, you're on the wrong level with that. turn this into just a wall of batteries. Battery bank. Maybe. Well, I guess I take it back. We'll just have this be all armor. And yeah, let's. Oh, now the center of gravity is a lot more centered. Nice. Whatever we did, it helped. Oh, it's that we didn't put those things back. Oops. I don't think it mattered there, but there we go. Yeah, it's definitely those things are really heavy. So maybe we add a few more batteries. Hopefully this won't break anything. Oops. We're going to need a lot of batteries because we're going to have multiple jump drives. Yeah, a bit of a wall before you get to the assemblers, but I don't think I mind. We could lower them too, but we're just getting into a whole mess then. And I think these are about the same level now, so that kind of works. Get up there and get across. Sure. And I don't know, maybe we'll have something underneath that to justify this being interior. And probably this too, all the way to the wall. Airlock somewhere in this region. In fact, that's probably a good way to get to the airlock. I don't know if it matters. From the engine room. Let's do it this way. Airlock there. There's center of mass is now, oh, now it's a little heavy on that side. I know it's still on the same side. I'm just on the looking the other direction now. So yeah, let's not worry about that anymore. My goal is to make a cool ship. I mean, these glass doors just can't be beat. We could optionally make it a little longer to put in something like a armory, but nah. Well, that can be a light, maybe. Inset light. You can also just do a light panel at the ceiling. Oh, you got these troffer lights too. Kind of cool. Troffer light, inset light, or light panel. Let's try the troffer light. I haven't used those yet. Let's use a full one. Ooh-wee. That is bright. Yeah, sure, that's fine for now. Let's see, we can also maybe, it'd be nice if we had more of these type of angled things. Just more options. Just a way to cover that up, basically. See, we could do that. Let's flip that around. Sure. Come here. Oh, this is the this is the outside, so to speak. We probably won't leave it like that, but just so we have some. This gives us a little bit of access to it around back. That's good. This is all going to be a wall. All this too. Oh, wait. And then up here is where the hanger will start. Make sure we're evenish. Oops. And let's go grab that other piece that we left. Let's see. This is the side we want to be on. Just grab it right here, right at the corner. Coming forward here, the sun is annoying me. There we go. Let's see where we're at with that. It needs to be a little bit wider. Just get it on there for now, and then see what we're left with. There we go. We definitely want it to be a little more forward. I guess that's going to need to be that size anyway, so yeah, let's get rid of that one more time. Let's just come forward with this. A couple more at least. Oops, hello. Are we at the right spot? I cannot totally tell. We want to be right there. And down one. Hey. Pretty sure it needs to be flush. Come on. So annoying. Is it flush? Maybe it's not trying to go flush. There it is. Oops. Damn it. And there's no undo button in Space Engineers. So annoying. Let's try to make it a little easier for us. Let's do that. Ugh, come on. It keeps jiggling out of the way at the last minute. Okay, let's get rid of all that. Super annoying. Try Space Engineers, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Okay, so I suppose it has potential. We might want to come down a little bit so this thing's not so booming. Oops, what did I do? Copy. There we go. Come down 1 or 2. Let's come down 2. Let's come down 1. Why so annoying? There we go, thank you. I believe that's what we're looking for. Nice thing is now this doesn't need to be quite so high, I don't think. Or maybe it does. About to there. Oops. Right in line with the hangar. That's the trouble with hangars, they're so big it's hard to not make them square. I do kind of like how this comes up a little though. I don't know. That does kind of just feel a little better though. I want to create some kind of contour or element of movement on top at some point. Hangar area, and then up front is going to be living quarters. We have enough room to make it a split level or something. I think I'm about ready to call it here. And find 1 or 2 more things to do before we wrap it up. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where our hangar doors are going to be. Just throw those in just to kind of, well, I don't know if I'm quite ready for that. Although we are pretty much building it, aren't we? What are we missing so far? Some hydrogen engine would be nice. Is that a hydrogen engine? No. Might want to have a couple of these on board. Like in here would be, looks like a great spot for it. Sci-fi ones apparently are a little quieter. What if we just throw a couple right there? Except that those, oh, none of them do. So we have to have a specific configuration. Could go here, oops, could go here and then hang a drill off of that. It's doing that thing where it doesn't spin the right way. Like that. I have 4 of them. Then we can hang a drill off the side of that. I think let's do that. Boom. And boom. Did I say drill? I meant welder. And something like that. And then it should be able to then weld both the upthrust and the hydrogen tank, which is a beautiful thing. So then even if the tank gets damaged, it can repair itself. I don't mind that idea. And we got them right there at those outer tanks. So if you're getting shot at or something and they're targeting your fuel system, I'm not sure why I bother because I hardly ever do combat, but now we'll probably want to be out a little bit from here, at least a couple blocks. Oh, we won't build anything up there yet because there's going to be we'll put ion thrusters in some spots as well. These will need to come around, like this needs to somehow come back. We'll have like space and then wall, maybe. And that's what we did on the other side, so sure. Space. And wall. Space. Wall. I mean, yeah, at that rate, might as well. Well, if that's yeah, actually, so yeah, this is probably good. Wall, wall, wall. Same thing over here. Wall, wall, wall. Wall, 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 wall. Oops, hello. Fill it in. Turn on symmetry. I mean, sure, we'll cover that up at some point. And that side, the door is right at the end of the refineries. So that would make sense to have it right there, which means that yeah, the wall is where so yeah, it's all making sense. Vent. Oops. And thingy. Wrong thing. This thing. Now what do we do over here? This side we might want to make it a little more discreet. Face it down. I don't know. I don't know that I mind it. So if we do that same design, it won't make sense. Maybe I'll have it this side and have it be hidden. There, let's do that. Now they're connected. There's our door. There's our other door. And there's our light. Yeah, this will be the start of the... Oh wait, this is the start of the hangars. Okay. I'm going to be careful then. We probably want a little more space, if that's where the door is going to be. Either that or have it off to a side, if that would be an option. I think it could be an option to have it over here. Maybe even go around. Although I do like the idea of just having a center door. Yeah, I think we want it a little bit more forward. I believe this will cut it. Nope. Okay, try that again. Where are you connected? Oh, I guess I just didn't. There we go. Now it should be disconnected. There we go. Let's add a little more space. Oops, There we go. Should make it a little more easier to maneuver in the hangar. And then same over here. We want about the same amount of space. So there's the wall, 1, 2. That's plenty, but we want it to be, we want it to come out a little more this way. And then maybe a wall. Not an airlocky wall, but some kind of wall. And then at some point it comes in. Have a ladder or something. It's taking shape. Yep. And then we do come down a little bit here. We'll come down even more. Down and up. So that's pretty nice. Could maybe even potentially have a small ship bay up here instead. Windows 8, 4, 5, 6, 7. Something like I had them the opposite the other way. Oops, okay, hold on. Yeah, there's too much space here. We don't need that much. Unless we do. We want to make a really big hangar. Put some guns in the middle somewhere. Maybe do a some kind of welder wall up top for ships. And then I was thinking this for the other one. Oh, see, they're in symmetry. They're not doing it, which makes sense. I'm just trying to make that little darker part in the window match. Because why not? Yeah, something like that might be an interesting idea for hangar. Other one comes in from the top. But I don't know, this might be excessive. What if we just do one big hangar door and top? And then that's the one that can let all the ships in. Seems like that would make a lot more sense than doing all this. This is like a lot of hangar doors. And a lot of space that it could be put to better use. Also, then we don't have to make this so high. So let's come back to that. This might be a good time to make a little to-do list somewhere. For now, we'll put it in the hangar. We need gyros. We need more H2O2. We need space for jump drives. We need of course, med bay living quarters, but we're not there yet. We'll get to that soon enough. We do need let's see, we need some room for automation, like event controllers and things, kind of like a control room. Did have a cool idea in the GK10, which is as yet unpublished, but it was having kind of like a grand staircase. I totally got the idea from from a YouTuber. Maybe up here. I think we can probably cut down a lot of this hangar area. Just dock a bunch of ships in one big room instead of having separate rooms. Okay, what else? Oi. We need a reactor or two. Oi. Probably more batteries too. Always solar. It's always good to have some solar. Oh my goodness. I don't remember why I actually started this, but there's some things to do. Oi. All right, so yeah, we'll continue with this. I'm gonna mess around with this. I'll probably make this quite a bit smaller. This ship just looks too big with that much hangar. All right, I am gonna call it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I don't yet have a cryo chamber to hide out in, but we have a pretty decent looking little production room and a nice little engine room back here. Potentially for a hangar back in this area as well. Should be a great spot for it. Probably going to go out even one more from that. Something like that. Obviously not connected right there, but it's kind of showing us the dimensions of the ship. This needs work. Probably scrap it and start over. We'll build up this area. Frame it up either. We'll have a way to get around behind it. Maybe a little window there. Like a break room, employee break room. Definitely a wall. Probably doesn't need to go wider there. Probably want to go skinnier, narrower. So yeah, we'll get there with this. Those will be covered. reactor could go over here. There's already a conveyor for it. Could make those look symmetrical if you wanted. Just looking at potential spots for a reactor. Could kind of squeeze one in somewhere, but I think we'll find a more intentional place for it. Maybe out here. I think reactors don't want to be, they tend to blow up easily too, so maybe here's a good spot for it. Well, there'll be plenty of spots. All right. Yeah, at least this much of the ship is looking good so far. Okay. Thanks for watching.